Are you thinking of owning your dream homes? EJ Investment is here for you. Secure our quality bungalows with 2, 3 or 4 bedrooms, or our story buildings 3 or 4 to 5 bedrooms at very affordable prices with flexible payment plans at our Sanyang Seaview Estate, where you can enjoy the cool breeze with modern infrastructure such as tar roads, covered drainage system, modern electrification with street lights, gated entrance with security posts, and social amenities such as gas station, shopping mall, medical clinic, park, schools, children daycare, and a lot more. Our dedicated team of professionals will keep the estate clean at all times, provide security and patrol team within the estate premises, install latest technologies such as CCTV, Wi-Fi, home network installation, solar panel, and power backup system. Also, check out for our additional home facilities and interior design service such as premium tiling, wall plaster, home landscape, fingerprint home lock, and a lot more. Visit our office at Senegambia Kololi Highway and get a free site visit tour, or contact us on 4464-838. WhatsApp us on 3259220. Or you can visit our Facebook page or Instagram on EJ Investments. EJ Investments, we are first in properties.
Islamic microfinance is becoming an increasingly popular mechanism for poverty alleviation, especially for developing countries around the world. This microfinance service adheres to the principles of Islam as a form of social responsibility. Yona Islamic Microfinance is the Islamic microfinance of choice in the Gambia, trustworthy and reliable. At Yona Islamic Microfinance, we provide savings products, current accounts, financing products in conformity with Islam. In addition, Yona Islamic Microfinance also offers local and international remittances, takaful fund, management of zakat, management of awqaf, trading and investment, and building of strategic partnerships to bring financial services to the doorstep of the poor with donor projects, madrasas, youth organizations, women groups, and farmer organizations. Make a choice with Yona Islamic Microfinance today. For more information on Yona Islamic Microfinance, call 377-2151 or 9832-151, or visit Yona head office at Tipa Garage, Bakote, or visit any Yona branch located countrywide near you.
Planning to have an uninterrupted electricity and water supply from solar energy in the Gambia and beyond? Worry no more, because Solar Enterprise will provide you with the solutions at reasonable cost. We have experienced personnel who can install and advise you about your electricity and water supply with a warranty period. We have good quality solar products from North America and Europe. We provide services and sell products to individuals, organizations, institutions, private offices, communities, and government. These products are solar panels, batteries, charge controllers, inverters, water pump, water heaters, freezers, submersible pumps, and general solar accessories. Visit our stores at 48 Kairaba Avenue and Brusubi Highway, or you can call us on 7657-479 980-8483 340-9400 or 635-99.
To start with, I'll introduce the members that are on the high table. On my immediate left side here, you have Mr. Lamin Damfa, who is the Executive Director for CepRass. You're welcome, sir. And right after that, you have my favorite special aunt, Mrs. Tabu. She said we wrote Sar before Njai, so we apologize for that. It's Tabu Njai Sar, who is currently the Women Rights Coordinator for Action Aid International. And from there we have Uncle John Charles Njai, who is the chairman for Tango. And we would be joined by Dr. Mustafa Jobate later, who would be the lead researcher to do the findings, the dissemination today. So without wasting much time, I would hand over the baton to Mr. Lamin Damfa to give this honorable house the welcoming remarks. So Mr. Damfa, you're welcome.
First of all, I want to recognize the presence of John Charles Njai, Chairman of Tango, Tabunjai Sa, the Women Rights Coordinator of Action Aid. Of course, my colleagues from the civil society, fellow researchers, and all other protocols respectfully observed. It is my great pleasure to be here today and welcome you all to this very important dissemination workshop for the release of the first dispatch of our maiden opinion polls. Before we delve into the discussion of the results, allow me to make a brief remark. First of all, let me express my sincere gratitude on behalf of the Center for Policy Research and Strategic Studies, CepRass, and of course, in particular, the team that worked on this poll, and of course, to our funders, the National Endowment for Democracy, which is based in US, for their support. NED continues to support different groups in the Gambia in the area of democracy and governance. We greatly appreciate the trust and partnership that we have developed, not only with the National Endowment for Democracy, but also with all other partners. Let me also take this opportunity to thank profoundly the faculty staff of School of Business and Public Administration for their foresight in setting up this center, that is CepRass. Well, at this juncture, I just want to give a brief history of CepRass. The Center for Policy Research and Strategic Studies, CepRass, was launched in 2016 by a team of faculty members at the School of Business and Public Administration, University of the Gambia, to complement the efforts of the university in delivering quality research and consultancy services. It is independently owned, managed, and run by a constituted group from its membership. CepRass uses cutting-edge research methods that combine both qualitative and quantitative approaches to address critical socioeconomic, migration, developmental, political, governance-related issues, and to strengthen competitiveness in obtaining research in the designated areas. The center operates as a non-for-profit organization with a strong conviction that research is an important pillar in informed policy and decision-making. The center focuses on research and consultancy related to the following thematic areas: innovation and development, politics and governance, economic growth and inequality, migration, education and health, and organizational building and management system for development. The center is well positioned with the requisite expertise and facilities to handle surveys, training, and research work. Our team for any given assignment is selected based on academic proficiency, relevant experience, and proven track record to be able to competently and efficiently execute all tasks demanded by our clients. Our competitive edge lies in our broad and in-depth understanding of national and international issues. In this opinion poll, we collected data on public perception on pertinent economic, political, and social issues that are likely to affect the choices of electorates in the 2021 presidential election. It is important to note here that this release we are doing is the first dispatch of the first pre-election polls. We'll also be conducting a second pre-election polls that will come shortly, and then a post-election polls. The second pre-election poll, just like I've alluded, will be held 1 month before the presidential election. It will be used to gather information on citizens' perception on burning issues and their voting intention, as well as what informs those intentions. The post-election poll will be conducted 3 months after the election. It shall be used to collect information on the citizen perception of the newly elected government 100 days after being voted into office, as well as assess the public policy of the new government and whether citizens have changed their expectation on the new government. In the Gambia, politicians measure public opinion by gaining applause or crowd counts, or through individual contact or citizen. However, with this opinion poll survey, it can be used to construct a picture of public opinion on issues over time at different intervals, which produces a bandwagon effect. Essentially, conducting 3 opinion polls will make it possible to assess changes in citizens' political orientation and to what extent these changes in the that has on the campaign strategies informed by the results of an earlier poll. Today's event really marks another milestone in our growing democracy. We stand ready to continue our collaboration with relevant stakeholders in tackling the difficult challenges, but also seizing the great opportunities that lie ahead. I look forward to today's dissemination and invite all of you to participate actively, to pose your questions, and to share your ideas. On that note, I thank you all for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fatou, for this welcoming remarks, and also mentioned something that is very much important. I think that should be the key takeaway from his deliberation. That is, as a country, we have a growing democracy, and it takes various stakeholders to ensure this new baby is taken care of and with utmost responsibility. And I think the issue of us sitting here today comfortably to discuss on findings is a clear indication that Gambia is transitioning to a democracy that we want emulating. Now, from there, we will move on to the keynote address by one of the chief guests of honor, who is no other person than Mr. John Charles Ndai. But before I give the floor to my uncle, I would also remind and also welcome Mr. Dr. Mustafa Jabate, who is going to do the dissemination. Doctor, you're welcome. So, Mr. Okuta, you can also start your deliberation on the importance of opinion poll.
As I get older, it's getting more difficult for me to write speeches. So I have not written a speech. I have jotted down things. So don't expect me to give you a written speech. I am getting more comfortable in speaking from my heart because I believe that makes more impact for me. Let me begin by commending the founders of this noble body, the Center for Policy Research and Strategic Studies. Research is quite important and key in everything we do. I was thinking to myself that 22 years of dictatorship has succeeded in making most Gambians mini dictators, in the sense that we think our opinion is the only opinion that matters. We do not allow other people to give their opinions. We do not allow room to listen to the diversity of opinions, to be able to form a better opinion or have better perspectives of life. With this institution, I believe we should be more open to be able to assess the thinking and the perceptions of others so that we would be able to make informed decisions. I was asking myself, how many political parties have conducted research? How many independent candidates have conducted research before jumping into the field to start political parties or even to declare their candidacy? Have they sat down to think what are the needs of Gambians? Or is it just a few people coming to say, look, you are famous, you must run, we will support you? Have they done their groundwork, which research will be able to do. And that's why this institution must continue to push on in spite of whatever challenges are thrown to you. As a center, may I be quick to advise, please do not have partisan interest in doing your work. Be neutral when it comes to support. Be neutral. You may have your individual likings for candidates and parties, but let it not affect your work. Be professional to the core. Because you see, with this, I can tell you, you are going to be attacked, you are going to be maligned, you are going to be called partisan. But what I have learned in this little nation of ours is that if everybody tells you you are supporting one party or the other, then you are doing the right thing. So do not be bothered when your results come out and it favors one side against another. They will call you names. Keep consistent, and one day truth will vindicate you. Truth will show that you are on the right side of history. Let me be quick also to assure you of our support as civil society. As a matter of fact, we have always said that our advocacy must be fact-based. We must have research as the basis of our interventions and our advocacy. And these polls, as per political participation, perception of Gambians in politics, in their participation and all that, is key. It will help us as civil society to understand more the people that we deal with. Because I think we do a lot of assumptions. We assume a lot. We think we know how people think in this country. We think we know how people operate because we just take it for granted we are Gambians. But we have not gotten down to the bottom of issues, to the root of issues, to find out why we do what we do. And I hope that from these polls, we will be able to draw lessons. Politicians will be able to formulate policies that will be good for the country and not for themselves. As a nation, we stand at a crossroads. The times ahead may look gloom and doom, but I am confident that this nation will rise from the ashes. This nation, by what you do, we will be able to better our democracy. We will be able to build our democracy. We will be able to be a better nation and a better people. With this, I wish you well. And I once again reiterate our support and our confidence in what you do. If everybody says negative things about you, be assured that from the leadership of civil society and civil society, we stand with you. Difficult times will lie ahead, but let me assure you, brighter days are ahead of us. With this, I once again congratulate you, wish you well in your deliberations, and beg for leave to be excused for my 11 o'clock appointment. God bless you, and God bless the beautiful Republic of the Gambia.
Thank you very much, Mr. John Charles, the chairman of Fatou, and I think we would not be surprised that he spoke so well, but also very passionately. I think when an individual has the love of country at heart, it's not a surprise that he has spoken so well. And we're grateful that you came here to also share your views with us. And we look forward to having you on our subsequent activities as well. Moving on, I would invite, like I said, my special aunt, Mrs. Fatou, who is the Women Rights Coordinator for Action Aid, the Gambia. And she would also share her piece with us. And then we would also hope to learn something from it. So, Mrs. Njai, if you're ready, this whole house is very good from you.
I must say that I am very honored to be here today with you, to be part of this process, and to witness the first opinion polls on elections in the Gambia. First of all, I would like to commend CepRass for coming up with this laudable initiative, and also from research yesterday that I did since when I was consulted to be part of this process, that reading the biography of CepRass, I am delighted to say that since its inception, from the website, I have seen that CepRass have collaborated with researchers over the years and have provided a host of consultancy and provide development services to public, private, and multilateral agencies, including the Gambia Bureau of Statistics, the African Development Bank, and the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, the United Nations Development Program, and FAO, just to name a few. Why I was so delighted to see this is that in our fight in gender equality and gender mainstreaming into our policies and programs, developed countries have noted that data is very key in any development process. And seeing that CepRass has actually initiated such through fact-finding, through opinion polls, through data collection to inform policies and programs, I think is a step in the right direction. And I must commend you and encourage you to ensure that you're doing this based on the fact that the Gambia is a small country and it's on a transitional process and need facts and fact-finding for that matter, rather than the business as usual. So on that note, I would like to say that the process of opinion polls and its importance are usually very important. And they are designed to represent the opinions of a population by conducting a series of questions and then extrapolating generalities in ratio and within confidence intervals. Public opinion plays an important role in the political sphere, especially in the Gambia. These have registered the distribution of opinions on a wide variety of issues, have explored the impact of special interest groups on election outcomes, and have contributed to our knowledge about the effects of government propaganda and policy. This initiative will guide government action. It will help us influence public policy and give feedback to politicians. It will also guide self-rule in democracy. As we are transitioning into a full-fledged democracy, I think such initiatives are very important. Politicians mostly use, in developed countries, basically, mostly use public opinion data to tell how to vote on matters of public policy. So therefore, politicians in this country especially must not ignore the results of these opinion polls that we are about to see the findings, because this will help them in preferring their own judgment. Legislators and politicians and others, especially development workers, as we find ourselves in civil society, normally use public opinion to show up our own arguments. It proves a kind of evidence from a point of view. And I can say that, I can attest that since we've been observing as civil society on elections since 2001, and no such an initiative has ever been shared with. And that being the case, we go by our traditional voting system and we follow sentiments. We vote not basing it on facts, but we vote basing it on religion, basing it on geographical area, basing it on ethnicity, basing it on soft arguments, soft opinions rather than facts, and having the opportunity to receive such information today will help us a long way, especially those that are in civil society organizations. When we are very key stakeholders in the process, I think this will also help us in critically looking at how instrumental and the characteristics that follow our elections. I think this is a new thing, and it proves a kind of evidence that CepRass has joined civil society to ensure that opinions are based on data, they are based on facts, and we encourage you. So therefore, through these public opinions, the results that we will be having, we will feel free to give our loyalty and support your process, and also hold government to account. Sometimes a poll shows a distribution of opinion, as John has rightly said, indicating that most people either have no information about an issue or are not interested enough in the issue to form a position on it. Public opinion impacts government action by providing support for elected officials to adopt or fail to adopt policies. Inviting me as a woman to such a gathering means that mindsets are changing, and women are considered now to be part of the process for national development. I have no doubt that the findings or the process of gathering the data that we will, Doctor will share with us was diverse and included the vulnerable groups such as women, people living with disabilities, the elderly, and young people. As elections are accountable tools, so are opinion polls data. It provides a forecast to keep the discussion of issues going among the electorates and political leaders, as well as electoral independent bodies. I must confess that our democracy is growing and unfolding in the domain of science. Science proofs are more reliable. Science proofs or facts are more reliable to inform policies, legislation, programs, because the process it takes brings out facts and data. The electorates will express their opinions through such tools before elections. It is important to engage the citizenry. This product or the findings will provide better informed and help us to understand the issues rather than business as usual. This process will also make us realize that the stakeholders in elections are no longer limited to only voters, politicians, the media, but also academia and CSO. Ladies and gentlemen, may I take this opportunity to congratulate CepRass once again for this initiative and look forward for more opinion polls as we gear towards the electoral cycle 2021 to 2023. On that note, I wish us a fruitful findings and sharing of the data, and look forward to future projects the civil society among this room will take along to ensure that our populace are educated on issues of substance and for development rather than issues of sentiments. So on that note, I thank you once again and wish everybody a fruitful deliberation. Thank you very much.
What we want to achieve at the end of the day, we want those present here and the entire country to really look for what we call evidence-based policy, right? Whatever we do as a country, what we want to happen is it should be supported by evidence. It should be supported by research. So it is from this broader objective that CepRass has deemed it fit to conduct what we call an opinion poll, because we've never been having this. One that is not just based on a simple online sort of survey of some group of people, but then one that is based on a scientific and a rigorous, methodology. One that we can rely on and extract policies and programs from, right? So that is indeed what we want us to go home with. If there's going to be any takeaway from here, I think this is the greatest takeaway that we're going to have. Now, this project that we have here, this is just the fourth phase of in fact, this round one, this is just the first dispatch. We have other information that we're going to dispatch later, and that we have another poll, a pre-election poll that is going to come shortly before the elections, and also we have after 100 days of the new government, we're also going to do an assessment of that. Okay, so we want people's views to be considered in whatever we do as a country, and this is the role of the academia, right? And this is what we can add to our nation building, right? Yeah. So we start by giving a rundown of what OPs are, what opinion polls are. They are basically an assessment of public opinion using some sort of a survey of a representative sample, right, of the particular population that you want. And based on that, we want to be able to forecast, for example, the pattern and the trend that the voting is going to take place, right? So, and they've been very useful in history. For example, in the US, according to the Association of Opinion Polls Research, the OPs are successful in predicting election outcomes since 1936 in America. And in the Gambia, we know we have a constitution that has indicated that elections are mandatory, right? So because of that, the Gambia is going to the polls in December this year. So we really want to know what is going to happen, right? And at the same time, you've seen a lot of political parties coming into the contest, a lot of independent candidates, right? So we really want to know what the people think, what the electors think about national issues, and what their pattern of voting is going to be. Okay. So like I said, this is the first opinion polls that we are doing in this country, and it's divided into different sections, right? We have a section on election and electoral reforms in the country. We have a section on voting and peaceful elections, and also the implications of COVID-19 for the elections this year. So we're going to, then we also did an assessment of the current government, right? But the focus today in this fourth dispatch is going to be on three sections, on election and electoral reforms, on voting and peaceful elections, and COVID-19 and its implications for the election, right? So a lot of people are concerned with how we do this, and I think this is the bedrock of the entire research. People need to know that the methodology that we have employed is a sound one. It's one that is scientific, right? So what we have, we cannot go to everyone, right? So we do what is called a sampling, okay? So we have a frame, a population from which we take the sample from. So we've taken a recent IHS data set, the Integrated Household Survey, and with telephone numbers, right? So from that frame, we now did a multi-stage sampling, right? In the first stage, we have the LGAs, then we sampled the districts from the LGAs. So that gave us up to 34 districts that we're going to focus on, right? And from the districts, we sampled the households in the second stage, right? So that gave us a sample of 969 households to consider in this study, right? So because of the probability of having non-respondents, so what we did was, because we have the data set, we have the frame with us, right? So we did an oversampling of about 50%, okay? So that we are able to get the 969 respondents that would be a representative of the population, right? So then from there, then a list of questions were drawn. We designed the questionnaire using the Soviet solution tool. Then this questionnaire was put into, we have up to 11 enumerators and 3 supervisors, which were trained on the tool, on the instrument, so that they understand specifically what we want. And it's important that we know that these enumerators are people that have a vast experience in conducting research, in data collection, and that they really understand the tools that we used, because they've been working with us for a couple of times, right? So because of that, we have no issues, and we ensure that the list of enumerators that we have, there's a broad diversity in terms of all the local languages. Okay, so that if you call anyone who speaks any other language, that there's someone who can talk to this person, okay? In the language the person understands best, right? And like this, we ensure that that the sample is also somehow representative. Since we focus in on the households, and I like to say this is the best that we can do at this stage, right? So because we focus in on the households, and a lot of the time the household head, it's a male, right? And the telephone numbers are attached to this. So we ensure that for some particular households that were chosen randomly, that we speak to the women folk, right, from that household, okay? And we also ensure that for certain households, that we speak to the younger ones, those that are within the young, that are between the ages of 18 to say 36, right? So that it becomes a representative. And then these enumerators were stationed at one place, and they were given a time for all the different major lines. Then they were asked to call these selected respondents, selected individuals, household heads, and then they interviewed them, right? And they ensured that they understand it, because we were there ourselves. At the same time you're working, we ensured that the questions were asked in the best way possible, and that they understand from the beginning that they are not forced to participate in this, that they can participate out of their free will. If they decide not to participate, then that's okay also, right? So this was how the data collection was conducted, right? So we used that to use a copy tool to really get the data entered electronically, and we were able to retrieve the data set using CSV format in Stata, and then that was readily available for analysis, right? So the analysis were based on the self-report from, like I said, from the respondents, based on their own willingness to participate in this. So you can see it's really clean of any sort of biases towards any particular region or a particular demographic, right? At the end of the day, we had 95% of those that we call really participated in this process. Okay, so that's the methodology. So that's how we did the sampling, and we did the field work, and the data was collected electronically, and then we analyzed using some Stata commands, right? Then what did we find? So like I said, on election and electoral reforms, we asked the respondents that whether they have registered. Remember, this was conducted in the months of, from the 27th of July to the 10th of August, right? Approximately 2 weeks, right? So this was a time that the registration process had completed, okay? So we asked them whether they have registered, and we find out that 95% of those we interviewed have all registered to vote for the next election, right? Then we want to also give sort of a scorecard to IEC's work. Okay, so we asked the respondents, what do they think of the IEC's handling of the just concluded registration exercise at the time? And amazingly, you find that more than 75% of the respondents either said that the job was excellent or that it was good. Okay, so that's a kudos to IEC. And then also we asked them whether they think that the IEC is going to conduct a free and fair election. And amazingly, 80% of the respondents respond affirmative, that they think the IEC is going to conduct a free and fair election. We hope they live up to that expectations. And then we've asked the respondents whether they think that the IEC did enough to not register foreigners in the just concluded at the time, in the just concluded registration exercise. And we found that up to 75% of them think they agree or strongly agree to the suggestion that IEC did enough not to register foreigners. So really the assessment of the IEC's work in the registration process and the whole election going forward, it's really good, right? So we hope that they live up to that expectation. Then we want to know what are the most important electoral reforms. Because today we have an area of things that we really want to see change in the electoral process of this country. For example, we have the simple majority system, right? We have this marble still now. Okay, I think we're the only country that is using this in the world now. Okay, we want to transition to the paper ballot, and the age limits also on who can contest for a president position, right? The diaspora is pushing for their rights to voting, right? So we want to know what the people think are the most urgent and the most important reforms that really the country should engage in. And interestingly, most of them, 45% of the respondents, believe or think that the term limit is the most important reforms that should be instituted in our constitution. And I think this is very, very revealing, right? Then you have the simple majority system. Make it a little bit, difficult, but a little bit worse for people to get that post, right? So change the simple majority system. So 23% of the respondents say that they want to see the simple majority system is the most important reform agenda that should be undertaken, right? So things like the paper ballot, it's really not very important compared to others before the electorates, right? So we have, also we want to know, are people like our guest speakers just said, we want to know why people are voting for who they vote for, right? What are the most important things to them when they choose who to vote for, right? So upon interrogating this question, we found that 63% of the respondents saying that it is the party manifesto which is the most important thing for them when considering who to vote for, right? And I think this is really revealing in the sense that issues like the religion of the party leader, the gender of the party leader, there was a section on the tribe that the party leader comes from. So we find these are not very important to the electorates. Okay, so and this is what we want to see. We want people to vote based on issues, because in the manifesto you speak to the electorates what you want to do. Okay, what is your competence? Right. So if this is the most important thing to 63% of the respondents, I think this is really promising, right? So we also wanted to know when it comes to the issues that the next government should really urgently address, okay? Things ranging from, for example, prices, right? Inflation that is happening, issues around transport congestion, issues around women empowerment, civil service reforms, government debt to be reduced, issues around the stability of the currency, security issues, right? So the things that we're talking about every day, right? So we found that 34%, which is the highest, think that youth employment is the most important issue that needs to be addressed. Right? And I think this is also very important going forward. Whoever becomes the president for the next government, they really need to look into these issues. These are the issues that people are really concerned about. Then agriculture, right? Coming to agricultural development, right? Then the security of the country, okay? So these are the three most important issues that the respondents think that the next government should address, okay? Then on voting and peaceful elections, we wanted to know, because there's a lot of sort of rumors around, or some sort of pandemonium that, the elections would not be very peaceful, right? So we want to assess what are the views and the opinions of the people. So the chances of having a peaceful election, and you realize that the chances of having a peaceful election, from 75 to 100% chances that there is going to be a peaceful election, 50% of the respondents think that there is 75 to 100% chance that we are going to have a peaceful election, and which is really good, right? Then you have 33% of the respondents thinking that there is from 50 to 75% chance that we're going to have a peaceful election, right? So putting all of this together cumulatively, we can say that the chances of a peaceful election, the anticipation among the respondents is really high, okay? And I hope that happens, right? Then we want to know what people think about the inter-party relationship, whether it is cordial, whether it is good, excellent, or poor. And you find that when you combine them together, 1 in 2 respondents think that the relationship is either very poor or poor, right? So really, I think political parties, representatives that are here should really transmit this. And while we do politics also, we try to have a cordial relationship amongst us, because this is the views of the respondents, of the electorates, that it is quite not very good, right? Then we suggested to them, right, the issues of COVID-19, okay? Now, whether they think that the COVID-19 can lead to the prevalence of this, can lead to the postponement of the election, okay? So, putting them together, you find that about 45% disagree that COVID-19 may lead to the postponement of the December election. That, together with the 10% that strongly disagree, you find that more than half of the respondents think that COVID-19 would really not lead to the postponement of the election. And I think that resonates with what is happening around the world. In the pandemic also, a lot of countries have gone ahead to conduct the national elections, right? At the same time, we want to know, if it happens, how would they assess that? What are the consequences of the postponement of the election due to COVID-19? And a lot of the respondents, more than 75% of the respondents, think that it's either going to be bad or very detrimental, right? So I think this is a lane that this is something that the INC should be a bit mindful of, and try to see how to make the logistics arrangement in such a way that the pandemic doesn't lead to the postponement of the election, right? Then we want to know the intention to vote. I think this is the most important thing that a lot of stakeholders are interested in. What are the intentions of the people? Who do they want to vote for? Why? By the way, opinion polls are as good as the honesty of the respondents. This is very, very important. We have to take it with this caveat and this disclaimer that what we are presenting here is the opinion of the willingly they're giving this opinion, but it is as good as how honest they are in giving this opinion, right? And all we do is to report what they say, right? So we find that there is a 40% of the electorate, if you like, or the respondents are undecided. Remember, these questions were asked on the 27th, from the 27th of July to the 10th of August, right? 40% of the respondents are undecided on who to vote for, right? So we have a large pool of undecided voters, right? It is very, very important for the various political parties to know who these are, to have a very good profile of these undecided voters so that they know how to target them. However, of those who have decided on who to vote for, we found that 29% intend to vote for NPP, and 13% intend to vote for UDP, and 5% intends to vote for APRC, GDC 4%, PDOIs 4%, Citizen Alliance 1%, others 1%, NRP less than 1%, and DMC less than 1%, right? So this is really what we have found, right? But then at the same time, this is the 60% that have decided to vote for, who to vote for at this particular point in time. We have a large pool, okay? We have a large pool of undecided voters, which we are interested in knowing who they are, right? And going forward, even we can do a further analysis of who are the supporters of the various parties, where they come from, and all the profiling, that can be done in a detailed analysis. But just to give, in this first dispatch, we want to give you a broad view of what we have here. Then we want to know the regional affiliations of the various supporters of the supporters of the various political parties. So you find that the undecided voters are across everywhere, and they are highest. For example, more than 40% of them are coming from Banjul, from CepRass South, from NBR, and from West Coast, right? And less than 40% are coming from places like URR and LRR and CRR North, right? And these are the areas that you find. In fact, we have more than 50% of voters in URR intending to vote for NPP, as you can see from the graphs here. And we have close to 40% of CRR North intending to vote for, as of that time, okay? Intending to vote for NPP. Another observation you can see from here is we can see that, for example, the NPP is leading all the other parties in all the regions in terms of the percentage of the voters, right? Leads them in all the regions. So that is clear in all the regions, right? Except the APRC, that it is almost in tandem with in West Coast region, right? You could see that, okay? But otherwise, they lead all the other political parties in all the regions, okay? Yeah, further analysis can be done into all of this. Then we asked them who they think would likely win, which party they think would likely win the December polls, right? And this mirrors their intention to vote for. And obviously this is the same. I mean, if I intend to vote for a particular party, with an honest assessment, I would say that that party is likely to win. So, like 43% of the respondents say they don't want to know who is going to win. And that is reflected in the 40% of the undecided voters that we have found, right? But at the same time, 31% thinks that NPP is going to win. That also resonates with the 29% of the respondents who intend to vote for NPP, while we have 15% of the respondents believe or think that the UDP is going to win the next, the December polls, right? That also resonates with the 13% who intends to vote for UDP, and the rest, as we can see before us, right? Then we want to also know the intent, they're likely to win, where they're coming from, like, and how the various parties are perform, relatively to each other. Right, so you'll find that NPP is ahead in all the regions, and that in fact it's more striking in the URR. Right, nearly 50% of them think that that NPP is going to win. However, the undecided voters, or those who say they don't know, are really in fact larger in many of the other regions, except the larger in all the regions, except for NPP in URR and CRR North, NPP for CRR. Otherwise, the group that says that they don't know are the largest proportion in all the regions, except for CRR North and URR, for which the largest proportion says that NPP, they think NPP is going to win the polls, right? And I think these are very striking, okay? So we want to know where the undecided voters are coming from, right? So we did a little bit of profiling of them. And by the way, the education background of these people is not very important. As we found that 51% of them are illiterates, right? 51% of them are illiterates. And though we even included that here, in fact, of the other 49%, we find that less than 50% have primary to secondary education, right? So it's really not about education, okay? Then the regional affiliates, okay, we find that 1/5 are coming from they're coming from Brikama, the West Coast region, right? 1/5, the largest proportion of the undecided voters are coming from the West Coast, right? Then you have the NBR, Kerr, NBR following suit, about 17%, and then you have the CRR, Janjanburg, CRR, which is 16%, right? So really, I think it is for the political parties to woo these voters and see what is important to them. Further analysis can be done on this, like specifically for these undecided voters, what is important to them when they vote for a candidate, right? We could not have done all of this here. It will take a lot of your time. However, this is possible, right? So we just give this profile so that they know who they are and where they're coming from, and so that they can really target them in the election process. Okay? So basically, so this is it. At the end of the day, like I said, we want our broad objective is that we should go home with this idea, with this concept that nothing should be put forward on the table except that which is supported by research, for which we have evidence for. We should really graduate from doing, blindly designing and implementing policies that are not based on any evidence, right? So we really want the CSOs that are present here and the larger CSO community to engage government, their clients, government and political parties and donor community, using what we call evidence-based activism, right? Let us put our energy into that area that we have evidence, on our fingertips, that if we put our money into this, if we put our time and energy into this, it is going to lead to the betterment of our people. And we graduate from just doing things blind, or because someone says so, or someone is doing it, right? We want the government also to make research the bedrock of any policy that they do and the way they implement it. the what and the how of it should all be guided by all this, by scientific research. And I think that is the beginning of the development of a country, of a people, right? And also the donor community that are really supporting the programs and projects in this country should really put their money into those areas where they think it's going to support the life and the livelihood of the people, based on what has been found, based on research into those areas, right? So this is the presentation. Like I said, for me, this is the most important thing, right? And we'll keep coming to release, like I said, this is the first pre-election polls. You're going to do one shortly before the election to see maybe there have been some changes, and I like to make certain disclaimer. Like, a lot of things has happened since the 10th of August, right? So all of that needs to be analyzed to really have a fair share, a fair outlook of what the current condition is, right? And that we must always internalize the fact that what we have presented here is based on people's opinions. And it is as good as the honesty of the people, okay, that we've interviewed, right? And yeah, so basically this is it. We hope to, I'd like to say thank you for your time and for coming here and listening to us. Thank you so much.
Love like fire. Wow. Love like fire. Xam ngeen rek affaire bi xam ngeen fan la? Skincare la. 2020 lañ wax de. Waaw. Fii nag mooy Kerr fan, Kerr zero tache. Perfect skin. Skincare saa su ne rek niñ ko dee defee rek. Loo lañ soxlaati rek. Maanaam bu dee am problème ci seen skin yéen xam ngeen fan la fii ngeen di ñëw suma xarit yeeg am di jàmm yi nga xam ne taas daf lañ sonaloon xam nga doon xeesal bel laka xum éneew ma lañ ko nag waaye just in case comme ni ko gars yi di waxee rek en cas just in case loolu xew xam ngeen fi ngeen di ñëw Skincare Plus si yu baax rek la ñoo dox nag ay baax rek fu ne la ñoo dem ci réew mi di lañ indi rek nag products yu baax du Paris du Italie du USA du fi mu nekk nii sax boole nañ ci nag Sweden fu nekk lañ leen a indilee products bu dee tamit nag da nga ñuul rek ñu lay jamaa natural beauty that melanin dripping we do have stuff for you as well emuñ si skincare products rek ñu ngi ci cuub yi tamit fu ne la ñoo jaar in fact sax last commercial bi ñu defoon waxuñ leen woon ne dañoo dox ci ay kawar 9A grade rek nag waaw we do have bundles as well hair si lu ne la ñoo dox ñun ñu ngi ci rafetal jigéen rek luy taaral jigéen rek waaw boo leen di tukki tamit bëggoon rek classic suitcase ñu dañoo dox ci ay Samsonite duñ dee indi any brand of suitcases though other than Samsonite comme li ma dee wax rek boo eggee airport dëri Samsonite dafa am nuñ laa xoolee waaw ngeen ne lan nag waaw skin ci moom la ñu gën a xamee nag skincare products ci moom la ñu gën a xamee ñu ngi dox tamit benn tey tamit si ay dàlla waaye man nag skincare mooy suma specialty xam nga rek jigéen bu sa xar kanam réglé loo def mu jag am nañ Patricia Reiner Kiwi Eye the whole range Lighten Up Gold Tomatine I mean the list can just go on and on and on and on lépp loo xam ne rek luy taaral jigéen la ci yooyu rek la ñoo dox Skincare Plus nag emuñ si Gambia rek ñu ngi United States ñu ngi Gambia fii ba pare bu dee yaa ngi anywhere in Europe mun nañ la ko mail within 3 days rek ñetti fan rek nga jot say diw emuñ si loolu rek dañ laa consult tamit balaa ñu laa jaay diw dinañ def a free consultation pour wax la rek exactly li nga xam ne moo méngoo ak sa kanam dinañ leen wax tamit ne rek am nañ perfumes, fragrances, men's shirts, accessories. We do dresses as well. We do blouses. We do shoes. Name it, we do them. Skincare Plus 2020 is our year of perfection. Zero task. Fi mu nekk nii réew mi fii kenn waratu fi task. Kenn waratu fi am problème kanam. Kenn waratu fi am problème yu picca. Boo ko amee dafa fekk ne rek ñëwuloo ci place bi fii.
Love like fire. Bring my Yobogumba fire. Love like fire.
Agada.
Mbijan aganya.
Albaka.
Mbaka important.
Yo, nga transfer la sto.
Ya transfer la sto.
Ha, code nyinji.
Okay. What's that?
Nsila ID soto. Ah, sa soto. Sorry. Agada.
Mbijan bro.
Albaka.
Mbaka.
Bara alla service o tariya.
Ah,
mbare. Mo ki janna nun kunu bara tariya.
Jannom yona forest de bureau. Gambia tonkon na no mbare ya bere. Birim koyna fo kato.
Bari si kodo kino kato ni fo bolong blabe.
56 branches mola sota Gambia ja.
Ha?
Gambia kono ani Gambia bantala bankol. Nka kodo kiya bele. Kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta même na kodi to poto ni kodi maraw. Jannom number 1 ti nyonta. Andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale. Wolam nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale de dadi mani domorol dil fana beteat. Gambia dawda yalo nga fa kendol sotale je.
Wo moyo diat.
Apelenta
baraka. Ni ma lafta nyelen kendol e bina.
Yalo bukani la ko la baraka ba.
Yalo ndel chosano lo.
Baraka.
We live in a day and age where technology is creating a world without borders, filled with unlimited potential to improve the lives of the people around us. Innovarex Global Health ushers in a new way of leveling the playing field with increased access to quality healthcare services delivered at your doorstep. Our qualified professionals are equipped with state-of-the-art point-of-care testing technology to conduct tests such as kidney function, liver function, electrolyte tests, body composition, hemoglobin, A1C, and many more services with the highest efficiency in delivering results. The addition to our flagship Wellness on Wheels, more fondly known as WOW Delivery Service, brings the entire clinical experience full circle. IGH has remained committed to creating the future of healthcare delivery. Gone are the days of sending loved ones outside the country for basic medical services. Innovarex Global Health offers a new peace of mind and takes pride in delivering the quality of care we all deserve.